Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Marvel Monday. So today we're going to talk about the 6th episode of Netflix Marvel Daredevil called Condemned. Just a disclaimer, I will talk about the episode as if you've seen it before, so spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode, I recommend that you go and watch it before you watch this video, so that way everything makes more sense. And also, all thoughts are my own. Feel free to think differently. There's no right or wrong answer with these types of things. And so, again, today I'm just going to give a really short summary, like a couple sentences versus a paragraph, which I had been doing before. So let me know if you guys like that or if you want something different entirely. So this episode is about how Ben Urich still searches to find the truth within the police department, and Matt ends up getting tangled up with Fisk's plan of ripping apart Hell's Kitchen, and Vladimir gets wrapped up with Matt, so they end up getting stuck together. So the opening fight scene was really good. So it picked up right where the last episode ended. So Matt is just about to get arrested by the cops that show up. So they end up handcuffing Matt. And then Matt discovers that they're bad, so he instantly attacks all of them. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. I don't really remember. He takes all of them out while handcuffed with his hands tied behind his back. And he still manages to take them out. And they're all armed. That's pretty impressive. Like that, I think, is one of the most impressive things he's done thus far. Or easily the most impressive. Because just doing anything with your arms behind your back is hard, but then fighting 4 or 5 armed guys with your hands tied behind your back? Wow. That was a really good fight scene. He does a lot more of the extra flips and tricks and things like that. Like, he does a perfect backflip with his hands tied behind him. A perfect backflip, and then kicks one guy in the head, and then, like, swings around, does, like, a roundhouse kick, and, like, does another flip, and I'm just like, oh my word, dude. Drama queen. I just can't get over how... It's an amazing scene. I like that fight scene. It's pretty good. I also like the whole plot of Vladimir and Matt together, because they both hate each other. It's very, very clear that they hate each other from the beginning. They're really mean to each other, like flat out mean. I won't repeat what he says, but Vladimir was just like, no, I'm not cooperating with you at all. But ultimately he does end up cooperating because he says he's not going to die there like that. He's going to die some other way. So then he ends up almost escaping, but then he pretty much dies at the end, which is, to be honest, kind of sad. I really like Vladimir in this episode. He's also... the dude is insanely tough. Like, how the dude manages to stand and talk and wield a gun and fight and do half the things that he does in this episode with everything that he's gone through is ridiculous. Like, I made a list of everything that happened to him. So he's been beaten by Matt, who's pretty strong. He's been shot in the leg. He got caught up in an explosion in the last episode, so that's where he got his first injuries. But he managed to knock Matt out with like a piece of wood. They fell through the floor like 12 feet or so, landed on like concrete, which that in itself is a feat, surviving that. And then he took out however many bad guys armed with semi-automatic guns, and he just had one gun and he could barely stand. Like, he had to lean against the wall in order to be able to stay up, but he still managed to take all those guys out. Oh, and his gunshot wound was cauterized with a flare. I don't have any words. Dude is insane. Before Vladimir annoyed me, and you know, you're not supposed to like him. He's the bad guy. You're not supposed to like him. I liked him in this episode just because he managed to deal with all of that physical punishment. Oh, and he lost his brother, so then there's the emotional punishment too, and duress that he's going through. He still manages to keep a fairly cool head. Vladimir's a little emotional, and he's kind of an idiot, but, I mean, he manages to keep it together somewhat. I like Vladimir in this episode, just in this episode, not in any other episode. This episode, he's cool. Like, I want more of him. Pretty sure he dies. It never really made it clear. But if they would bring Vladimir back, that'd be amazing. I feel like I should have like a counter of how many times I've said Vladimir. And then I also like how they picked the episode off right after the explosion. So, you know, I mentioned earlier, they picked up the episode right when the last one ended. So Matt's just about to be arrested. The explosions has just gone off, and then so the ER at, what was it, Metro General Hospital, I think? The ER is just complete mayhem because all these people are coming in with wounds from the explosion and things like that. So Foggy, Karen, and Mrs. Cardenas are there because Mrs. Cardenas got hit in the head with the shrapnel or something. So then Foggy, Karen rushed her to the hospital to get help. We see Claire. They get to interact with Claire, but they didn't know who Claire was because Matt hadn't mentioned anything about her. And she doesn't know. I don't think she knew who they are either. I have a feeling if you got Foggy, Claire, and Karen having coffee together, literally all they would do is like complain about Matt and how much of an idiot he is. I have a feeling that would happen. I want the three of them to have like a little fluffy interaction like that. Like go have coffee or like sit down and have dinner and just like complain about stuff together. I feel like that would be amazing. So I like how the thing is just complete chaos. Like, you see from multiple angles how insanely chaotic everything is. So obviously the hospital is overwhelmed with the amount of people coming in with wounds and things like that. Like, pretty stressful wounds. Like, people are pretty much dying from all this stuff. And then, Ben Urich is just trying to get the story so then that way he can get the story out there first, so that way they get the most coverage, that way they make money, that way everyone can keep their jobs, that type of thing. But the police officers are, shutting him down because, I mean, they're dirty cops, but also there is some validity to it because you don't want everything in an active investigation or hostage negotiation public for a wide variety of reasons, but there is somewhat justified in what they're saying to him and that they can't give anything away. And then Foggy's hurt. Again, I was watching it with my good friend. Shout out to you, Maddie. We were like, what? No! Don't touch Foggy! No! And we're like freaking out because we're like, he's gonna die! No! And we're like screaming at our laptop because like our favorite character is wounded and he could die. And we're just like, oh my word, no. I don't like that they injured Foggy like that. I just don't like that Foggy was hurt. Foggy's my favorite character. At this point, I should just not even say it because I'm sure you guys are all fed up with me rambling about Foggy and Wesley. I like them both really. I really, really like them both. I like them so much I can't even talk. So back with the stressful thing. Claire is just trying to keep people alive in the ER, which, I mean, is stressful on its own, but then you have something massive like all these 4 explosions and all these people coming in just makes things even more stressful. Matt is trapped with Vladimir, who is being an emotional idiot and, like, refusing to cooperate. And I'm just like, oh my word. Dude, Matt's trying to help you. Knock it off. Just, like, dude. Like, I mean, I get that he's upset because he thinks that Matt killed his brother, which, I mean, yeah, it makes sense that he would be emotional, but he's just like, dude, get a hold of yourself. Do you have no control over your emotions? Anyway, but I mean, they do get along in the end, so I guess that's good. I mean, they help each other. Right before Vladimir goes off and shoots all those bad cops or whatever, he does end up giving Matt the name of Leland Owlsley, who's Fisk's money man, so that does help out Matt somewhat. But it wasn't until the very, very end, like right before Matt was about to leave, which I don't get why he had to bust the deadbolt or whatever it was holding that door shut with a jump, flip, roundhouse kick, whatever he did. It was just so extra, and I'm like, you could have just kicked the door, like kicked the bolt. You didn't have to do like this elaborate spinny, flippy, twisty, jumpy thing. You really didn't. That's been pretty dramatic and extra in these past few episodes. I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't get a whole lot into this episode. I mean, like, I couldn't think of any major symbolism behind anything, like with lines or color choices for lighting or anything like that. I feel like the only thing that could contain symbolism like what I have talked about before is with Matt and Vladimir. The 2 of them are kind of after the same thing. They both want to take down Fisk. In the end, I mean, at first Vladimir just wants to kill Matt because he thinks Matt killed Anatoly. But then when Vladimir finds out that Fisk had been playing the Russians, he decides that he's going to take down Fisk. Matt is also trying to take down Fisk, but they have different desires on how to do so. Vladimir wants to kill Fisk, Matt just wants to put him behind bars, because that's the lawyer part of him coming out. He refuses to kill people, and he wants people to be put behind bars. But Vladimir knows that that's not the way that you need to take care of a problem like this. you need to kill the person. That way they really can't do anything. Because if Fisk is in prison, he can still have people on the outside running the business. He can call shots from the inside. Or he could get out entirely and go back to what he was doing. Or maybe even gain more power. Vladimir sees the only way to get rid of this problem is to kill Fisk. Matt still believes in the justice system. I mean, he is part of the justice system. He does believe in it somewhat. He believes that if you put Fisk behind bars, everything is fine. Everything's hunky-dory, you know, great. It'll be fine after that. Vladimir doesn't think so. So that creates a lot of tension between the two of them. And plus the fact that Vladimir, like, hates Matt and Matt hates Vladimir. But Matt needs to keep Vladimir alive because Vladimir knows a lot more about Fisk and his operations than Matt does. But Vladimir's refusing to give him anything. So Matt has to keep Vladimir alive. And then again, with this episode, there was a weird little haunting, cool, goosebump-inducing, like, singing thing with Vladimir at the end. Right when Vladimir is about to go off, he's, you know, in the tunnel thing, he has the machine gun, whatever, he's, like, walking down, he's, like, singing this song. I don't know what song it is. I'm assuming it has some sort of significance, because that's, like, the last time we see and hear of him, and considering the type of emotional guy he is, pretty much everything he's saying and doing has some sort of deep emotional significance. So, I can't tell what song that was. I couldn't tell what he was saying. I'm assuming it was in Russian, but I couldn't tell, to be honest, because he was just so beat up. He couldn't really enunciate very well. And they didn't give any subtitles, so I guess it's supposed to be kind of a mystery on what he was saying. But I just want to know what he was singing. I really do, because if it's that important that those are, like, his last words, I would like to know what they were. Considering how amazing Vladimir was in this episode, I would like to know more about what he was saying. We see more of Fisk and Wesley. They're just in the car calling the shots. And then when Fisk is talking with Matt over the walkie-talkie, I was just like, Matt, don't talk. The first time I saw it, I'm like, Matt, no, don't pick that up. Don't answer it. Don't answer it. But then Matt picks it up and I'm like, oh my word, dude. So then they're like trying to have like this outwit argument thing where they'll like think they'll outwit the other person, but then the other person outwits them and it just goes like back and forth. And I'm just like, oh my word. Ugh. So final thoughts. I liked the episode. It was good. It was very, very chaotic. I felt like there was a lot of things that happened. When I film these videos, I watch the episode and then I take notes while I'm watching it and then I jump right in and start filming. So since I finished the episode like 20 minutes ago, I'm still just kind of like processing everything that happened. I felt like there was a lot that happened. Which, I mean, if you had a situation like that, a lot of things would be happening, especially if you have from like multiple point of views. Like there's Ben, Karen and Foggy and Mrs. Cardenas, there's Claire, and then there's Matt, and then there's Fisk. So you have like 5 different points of view you have to cover within the span of like 45 minutes. That's a lot on its own. That's not even 10 minutes per character. A lot that happens, it goes by really fast. It's also said that Matt and Claire broke up. I mean, like, they weren't ever really together to begin with. They kind of had a thing, but then now they've like gotten rid of that thing, and it's really sad because I think the two of them belong together. They care about each other, and Claire knows when to not deal with Matt's dramatic tendencies, I guess is the best way to put it. Foggy and Kara need to be together. Foggy and Kara need to be together. I'm not going to go into it because I know it can go on forever. Foggy and Karen need to be together. All I'm going to say, and I am going to move on. You know, my other favorite character, Wesley, shows up a decent amount in this episode, but he's just kind of boring. He doesn't have any witty one-liners, he doesn't have any dorky things. He's just like doing what Fisk tells him to do, which is such an evil Hufflepuff thing. I love it. Evil Hufflepuff, who knew? I'm home for the holidays, like I said earlier, so I'm trying to get a whole bunch of videos filmed for you guys. And yes, I am wearing the same shirt I was wearing in the last video, and all I did was just put on different lipstick. That was all I did. And I got Starbucks. I thought about changing my shirt, but I'm like, no, I don't want to. So if you see like 3 or 4 videos of me wearing the same shirt, I have other clothes than this. It's just because I filmed it all on the same day. Anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next week. See ya!